going on, people? What do we have here? I don't know. I wonder what this is. I don't know. Maybe it's a Nova Liberty. I don't think the name's big enough. That's about the only bad thing I can say about this thing. Seriously. You guys might remember the Umarex Gauntlet busted the door down in making PCPs affordable. They offered a PCP for like $300 and it was supposed to be regulated, high shot count, accurate, rotary magazine, the whole 9 yards. And it did. It started the trend. These old boys are capitalizing on that. They're trying to get in the wake of what the Umarex Gauntlet had caused. We're going to talk about some of the features on this thing. I really like this air rifle. I really like it, and I'm going to tell you why. Some of the big reasons: the minute you open up the box, you see a single shot tray. You see a 10-shot rotary magazine. You guys might recognize this magazine. Look familiar? Yeah, it's the Marauder style magazine. So if you have a Gauntlet or Marauders, you got tons of magazines that you can cross use. They give you one mag. They also give you this sweet little single shot tray. It says on the side what the caliber is. And it has a magnet on it. Watch this side cocking, by the way. Notice how I did that with one finger? Okay. Here's your single shot tray. Done. Probe goes right over it. Sweet. Speaking of probe, how about fill probe? This is what fill probe should be, guys. This is the standard from this point forward. If you remember, I talked about it when I first picked this gun up back in like January or February, something like that. When you if you've got to carry around a fill probe, it should be just like this. Just the fill probe, no special adapters, tools, Teflon tape. That stuff's nuts. Having it machined right in the bottom, sweet. Whoever you were, engineer guys, that came up with that, sweet, nice job. So in the box, you look and you see, wow, it's got iron sights. I don't even have to put a scope on this in order to shoot. I could just take this out of the box and shoot it. Yes, you can. The fill pressure on this, you can go up to 4,350. Now keep that number in mind, 4,350, and stretch that through a regulated gun. That means your shot counts on this is going to be somewhere around 80 to 90 shots. Now don't get me wrong, you're going to have some that will start to tail off, but if you're planking, you can compensate for just a little bit of holdover. That is a ton of shots. And the box says that the thing will get like 1,000 feet per second. It does. And it does it with a lead pellet, not some plastic or alloy pellet to make the numbers look good. It legitimately will fly a 14.13 Crossman at like 911 feet per second. And when I do the shoot section of this review, you're going to see the numbers when it goes across the chronograph. I also have a sound meter just in front. You'll see it off on the side. It's not a scientific proof of what the sound is. It's just to give a general idea of how loud it is. I will say that the gun is a bit barky. It does have a bit of a pop to it. It's louder than I would think. And when I took this barrel apart, I found out why. Inside here, the barrel, there's a shroud, and inside here the barrel comes down and stops, I don't know, right around in here somewhere. That last little chamber they're using as a baffle chamber, but there's nothing in there. There's no air stripper at the end of this. There's nothing. There's just a big rubber dampener at the end, and it just barks through this chamber here, and it's supposed to capture it. Now, because they have this big rubber block down here, it's trapping the air and won't let it go any further. You know how I operate. I've changed things a little bit, so I designed an air stripper and baffle stack for this, plus ventilated the shroud and got rid of that big rubber plug so the air could transfer down through here. Definitely changed the sound a bit, did make it a little quieter, but it didn't interfere with the accuracy of the rifle at all, so that was an improvement. The side cocking, can't say enough about it. Wicked smooth in comparison to any of the bolt action stuff that we're used to. Gone with this one. Great, comfortable trigger. Is it a match grade trigger? No. Is it better than what the Gauntlet's trigger was out of the box? Absolutely. It's still not, again, it's not a match grade trigger, but you get so used to where this thing breaks, you can really rely on it. It's very easy. We talked about the single shot tray. We talk about the rotary magazine that's the same as the Marauder. These are all pluses to me, meaning you can just see the advantage to having this if you already have others. And if you don't have others, when you get them, you pop it right in there. If you don't want the iron sights, loosen this little guy up on the top and it'll come right off. Your dovetail rail is now ready for your scope. They give you the Allen key to take the one little screw out here at the end, and you can take these sights off, put it in a box somewhere, keep it safe. It has a gauge, pressure gauge at the end, which you can see there. I'm going to turn this all the way around and show another one of the features of this rifle, which I think are crazy cool. It's got a power adjuster, high and low. So if you're shooting a really light pellet and you don't want to overperform it, you throw that thing on low. Tons of shots. It increases that shot count I was telling you about even more because it's sipping the air on it. The safety is on the upside, right next to the cocking mechanism. Again, very comfortable. You're not reaching in some weird spot for the safety. Right there, again, very light. And it's kind of cool. What they did was they designed the tip of the safety to look like a pellet. Come on, gotta admit that's cool. I think it is. I chose to go with the synthetic stock because I wanted it to be light. And when we talk about light, this whole air PCP, this whole thing weighs 6.5 pounds. Really, really light. If I had to say something negative about it, it's this. It's kind of a cheesy lightweight stock. But I think you can do something with that. I think if you really wanted to get creative, you could do what my man Steven did here. I could never do this, but you see what he did? He made a wood stock for his. Or you can buy the wood stock version of this, and you'd be good to go there. So now let's talk a little bit about buying this thing. Let's say you wanted to pick this thing up and you could save 20% right off the top. So it's taking a $299 gun and it drops it to $239. Some cheap numbers, man, for a regulated 200cc reservoir, PCP, side cocking, single shot tray, rotary magazine. I mean, guys, if you're just getting into the PCP era game, you couldn't have got in at a better time. Those guys that know what I'm talking about, if we go back 5 years ago, that wasn't even a consideration. You were taking things like a Benjamin Marauder and dumping dough into it for it to be as best as it could be. You got stuff coming out of the gate that's already $200 cheaper than what they were after you put dough in them. It's insane. So let's do this. We're going to put this thing through its paces. We're going to show you how it shoots. You're going to hear how it sounds. Within reason, you'll see the numbers on a thing. It'll be relative, but at least you'll get a feel for it. And I'll show you how she shoots. Also, I got to make sure that you fully look at Air Velocity Sport. His name's Steven. He has done things with this Liberty that's insane. I usually will take a rifle, tear it down, do all kinds of tweaks, and try to figure out how I can get more out of it. I'm not even going to bother. There's no way to outdo this. It's impossible. He's already nailed it. It's insane what he's done. Kudos to him for that. So let's get going. Let me get this thing shooting so you can see what it's like, and then we'll follow up at the end with my final thoughts. Hang in there, guys.
We're out at the range with the ATI Nova Liberty. We're going to throw some lead down range. I'm going to start out with the JSBs, the 15s. This is the old gray tins. They still shoot really, really well. Then we're going to up that a little bit by shooting the JSB 18s. Then I'm going to go into a Nielsen Specialty Slug 19 grain. And then we're going to finish out the set with the H&N Hunters. So let's get going. I'll be shooting at the top left target down there and then work over with each pellet. So it'll be top left, top right, middle left, middle right, and so forth. Also, guys, in my typical configuration, in front of the rifle you see the chronograph. So that way we can see how fast they're going down range. To the right of that you'll see a dB meter. It's not scientific, it's doing nothing more than just showing the report so that you get a kind of an idea of how much noise this thing makes. That meter is exactly 3 feet in front of the chronograph and off to the right 2 feet. So it's a bit away from the muzzle, so you're hearing it. The microphone you're hearing me on right now is immediately to my right. So you're going to hear both the rifle and you're going to hear the downrange stuff. We've got another camera downrange at the targets, so that'll be superimposed on this. Chances are I'll put that target right over here. That'll show up with our distance, and then right over me in this area here I'll probably have the shot calculations so that you can see that tally up. Let's get going. That's 50 yards, guys. And I don't know if you picked up on that, but at least 2 of those rounds went through the same hole. Let's give the 18s a shot. Okay guys, we're going to shoot the JSB 1839s next. 50 yards, top right target. There you go, 5 shots, 18.39. Okay guys, next up, Nielsen Specialty Ammo, sizing 217, and the weight on these is 19 grain. Slugs, 5 shots. That's through the same hole, guys. Same hole. I'm on my way to greatness here. I don't want to screw this up. Could have been me. Find out on this next one. We may be slowing down on the velocity there. There you go, guys. Those are the slugs. 19 grains. They're doing pretty good. Next up, the Hunters H&N. This time we're going to be shooting the H&N Sport Hunters. These are 18.21 grain. 5 shots. 50 yards. don't know what that was. That was all over the place. I got that feeling I'm off the reg. Yeah, we're off the reg. We got to fill this thing up again. JSB Diablos under the gray 10, 15, 8.9s, 75 yards on the squirrel.
How you doing, guys? And now it's time for my final thoughts. I already told you before we started this what I thought about the features on this thing, and you just saw them being demonstrated at the range. You cannot go wrong with this PCP for $239. If you're a plinker, a hunter, it's worth it. It's a good value. It's a great value, and I keep saying that because you can't score this many features for that low of a price. Is this an FX? No, it is not. Is it a day state? No, it is not, but it doesn't claim to be. What it has is features that mimic and act like the big boys that you pay a lot of money for. I have them. There's no comparison in build quality. Those are much better built products than this one will ever be. But what I'm getting at is for entry level, someone that wants to just try it out and wants to get out of brake barrels or wants to get into PCPs in general, you can do it now really affordably. And on top of here, we've got a $38 scope. This scope is a 24 power. Now let's just say we take 4 of that zoom and just take it off the top. Stop at 18. Let's just stop at 18. Don't even go beyond 18. Even at that, this scope is worth it. Now, I know I said 4 and I went 6, but that's not the point. I'm saying just stop short of going all the way to the high. That's where these scopes usually don't do so well. But we're not talking about the scope. I'm just trying to say that with the scope and this PCP, I'm still under $300 with the savings. Speaking of the savings, Hardair magazine did a review of this thing in April. For that, they also said that they would give a code that would save you 20% at American Tactical Imports. And all you got to do is put in Hardair 20, all one word, no spaces, Hardair 20, and you will save 20% off the price of this gun. We saw how it shoots, we saw the accuracy, we've seen the power it generates, you've seen how many shots it has. Guys, I can't cover everything in my videos. There's always going to be something I could have done where someone will say, I wish you would have shot this pellet, or I wish you would have done that. It's all I've got. It's all the time I have to share with you, but it should save you some time or at least answer some questions that you may have had about this particular PCP. We've got a lot more reviews coming up for you. I've got a lot of other air guns that I've purchased that I just haven't had a chance to get videos put together, like my Daystate Red Wolf HP 22 caliber. I'm also going to do a slug segment where I'm putting all the air rifles through, showing slug performance, starting with slug barrels on the FXs, going into the Daystate, shooting them through the gauntlet, both 22 and 25 calibers. I have a Hubin semi-automatic that I'm going to be doing a review on, so I got a lot of stuff that I'm working on, plus more scopes. I'm going to be doing a few reviews on the Discovery entry-level scopes. This isn't a Discovery, this is a CVLife, but I want to try to start getting more into the entry-level stuff to show that you don't have to spend $300–400 on a scope to have something usable. You don't have to spend $2,000 on a PCP to have something usable. This proves it. Barrel bands come with it, pellet fill probes that make sense, gauges, side cocking, power adjuster, rotary magazine. I mean, I can't come up, again, the negatives, stock's a little cheap and it's a little loud. I've got the little loud part, I think, under control. The cheap stock part, Steve, what do you think, man? Start taking orders? All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for stopping by and watching the video. I really appreciate it. Down below will be a lot of information in the description, links and things that I've mentioned in the video. Be sure to look there before you ask any questions. And as I've always told you, I will answer any question providing it's respectful, guys. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. You shoot safe. Take it easy. So there we go, my air gun brethren. Another video done. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it greatly and look forward to your comments below. Thanks for stopping by.